Welcome, everybody, to another day of the Envision Me show. So, first and foremost, I want you all to go look, we always start out with 3 homework assignments. I'm going to knock it out now so you guys have time to get it and gather yourselves together. So, first things first, it's Win Wednesday. What's your win for today? Now I'm always getting look, my phone is already starting to blow up when everyone's like, well, what's a win? Well, a win is where you have set a goal and you've already met it. Or how about this? You know what you want to do, but you're just so overwhelmed who don't know where to start at. We'll be able to help you there. Or better yet, you're thinking about it. I feel that that's all still a win because it's heading you down the direction of you going after your what's next, no matter what. So drop it in the feed. Let us know what your win is for today. That's one. Number two, you guys, I'm always talking about what's your evening beverage or evening snack. Tell me what you're eating right now. I have unsweetened tea, so you guys should be proud of me. I've already had all my water for the day. So go ahead and tell me what it is you're drinking or eating. If you have not, or if you're like me, have already eaten your snack for the evening, still tell me. Tell me what is your evening snack or your favorite go-to snack. And then lastly, go grab your pen and paper because my guest is amazing and she's going to be dropping some nuggets. And so we're all about here empowering and inspiring you to go after your what's next. And then I have one housekeeping rule. If you are dropping some nuggets or if you're saying hi or giving a shout out, if you are not a StreamYard subscriber, you will have to give me access to see it instantly. Now, if you don't want to do that, that's okay. I will be able to see it as we're going through the show. But what I can do is I'll give you a shout out after the show. If you have a question for me or for my guests, and if you have not shared or given us authority to see that, don't worry about it. I will pass on your question to my amazing guest. So without further ado, let me bring my guest on. Hey, Miss Angie, how you doing?
Hello, I'm doing amazing. How are you?
I am amazing as well. We get to finally chat. I'm so excited.
Oh, I know, me too.
Real quick, before we get into it, in 5 sentences or less, tell everybody who you are.
Yeah, so my name is Angilie Kapoor. I am the founder of Oversight Global, and we are on a mission to address the consciousness crisis in the world, one brilliant soul at a time.
I love it. The consciousness is so important, especially what's going on in today's society. Oh my
Yes.
goodness. So we need it. So look, right on time as I knew it would be, or we were right on time with that being said. So as you said, you're talking about being conscious.
Mm-hmm.
Conscious, how do we even start with that? Especially, I mean, like honestly, we turn it on the TV. There's so much that's going on, and not even going on with the T as we turn on the TV, even in society,
Right.
and even in the corporate world, as we'll touch more on. How do we even start being conscious of being aware around with our surroundings?
Well, years and years ago, before I kind of hopped on my self discovery journey and empowerment journey and things like that, I always was, kind of in this world of hustle. Like I was always going, going, going. I never really stopped to enjoy the present moment. I was always thinking about something that I did before or looking forward to what I needed to do next. And I was never really present. And I don't know if maybe people out there can, kind of resonate with kind of going through life and not really feeling like you're ever really experienced it. It's kind of like you feel like you're on autopilot. And so, what I define as consciousness is really being aware of who you are and the things and people that are around you more consciously, having more of that awareness and not just kind of going through life and feeling like you're kind of being pulled in every direction. You're not really sure what's going on because you don't feel in control. And yeah, so I mean, to me there's consciousness on various different levels, but for me that was kind of my first kind of awakening of, wow, I really need to be conscious of my life, really.
And I'm glad that is so true. I talk to my team a lot. I'm still in corporate, so I'm
Mhm.
always asking everybody, "What is your guys' what's next?" And everyone is, "This is what I get."
Yeah, the blank stare.
Usually, it's like when I first seen it, I was like, "Okay, oh, okay, guy, this is not good because you guys are scaring me." And I'm glad you're talking about us being in autopilot because that's how they were, and
Mhm.
and nothing against it, but I want you to wake up, and that's one thing that we're having this conversation, and really the purpose of the podcast. I want people to wake up, and I want them to live their life to what they want to live it to, and not being on that autopilot to then where it gets down to, okay, I've been with the same place in the same job for 10 or more years, never even thought about my what's next. And I
Right.
think that is so important because I've always asked my team, when I did ask them, as I've started waking everybody up, I'm like, okay, so now really, what are you guys going to do after you leave here? And the answer I get 9 times out of 10, I'm hearing, if I hit the lotto. And I'm
Right.
like, that's scary to me because what's the likelihood of us winning,
Right.
when I even asked the team, okay, so do you play? And they're like, no. I go, okay, we need to work on this.
She's like, "This is wrong on so many levels."
Right, right. So with that being said, as we take that autopilot off, and I know it comes with a lot. I understand. I was called
Mhm.
talk about the three brothers: fear, fault, and failure. I get it. But when we take that autopilot off, what do you suggest is the first thing they need to do once they take that autopilot off?
First of all, I want people to be aware of kind of what you just said, is it's a lot. It can be very overwhelming. It can be kind of jarring because you're going to be functioning from a state that you're not used to functioning from, is, this newfound awareness. And yeah, I mean, that's really what I want, everybody to be aware of, first of all, and that's normal, and it's not gonna, last forever. You'll get into this new groove, right? But yeah, I mean, really, the first step that I took when I went on this journey, and really it was became intentional of becoming more aware of me and things happening around me, is I really started to listen to what was going on in my own mind. So one of the first things that I learned when I set off on and embarked on this self-discovery journey was about mindset. And I learned about this in my early 30s. And I have to be honest with you, up until that point, I had no idea what mindset was. I thought when people said mindset, I was thinking,
Mhm.
attitude, my how my personality was. But when I really dove deep into it, it was so much more, and it really blew my mind that we kind of have this conscious and subconscious brain, and most of the time we're running on autopilot because of our subconscious brain. And we have no idea what's going on because our subconscious mind is really kind of running things. And I really started to embark on this journey when I got promoted into my first healthcare management position, and I went from being a sole contributor to then managing and being responsible for a team of people. And all of a sudden it went from not just me worrying about me, but me responsible and having to worry about these other people. And that's when I call it the Pandora's box of all this stuff happened,
Mhm.
where I started to experience all of these internal struggles and challenges I did not even know I had. And so that's really why, I embarked on this journey to better understand what was going on with me, because I just felt so, out of place and like a fish out of water. But our mindsets are so powerful, and if we're not aware of it and really trying to harness it, it's really working against us and hindering us and keeping us stuck, and we're not even aware of that. And so that was the first thing that I did, is really start to pay attention to what was going on in my own mind. What thought patterns did I have when things happened, especially stressful situations, or when negative things would happen that I wasn't planning for. What kind of self-talk did I have? I mean, that kind of blew me away at first, because I had no idea the horrible things that I would say to myself when I was under stress, or I'm dealing with different types of circumstances. And so I really was intentional about becoming aware of all of that, writing it down and starting to really ask myself, is this true? And why do I think like this? Or why do I have this pattern? And so really becoming that 5-year-old kid and, really asking why,
Mhm.
so you can, really get down to the bottom of things and start to unravel all of that stuff so that you can get to a place where, you want to be and become the person and be the person that you want to be.
So people are listening to us around the world, and they're like, "Okay, yeah, Angie, that does sound so good." But what is one thing they can start doing? Because it again, you're right. As we're unraveling this, peeling back that onion, we have to do it a little bit at a time. And they're
Right.
like, okay, yeah, I'm ready to move. I'm ready to make this shift, and I'm ready to start doing self discovery. But you've given me almost six things. And how do I start with one? And it becomes because we're overwhelming and we don't want them to shut down. So
Oh,
what
yeah,
is the first thing?
absolutely.
What would be the first, as you had talked about? I love the paying attention because
Mhm,
I want to touch on that first because I'm one. I will you can use me as your student. I was one that did not pay attention. I
mhm,
literally I was truly on that self autopilot, not even passing, not even paying attention what was going on to the left of me, the right of me. I was just going to the everyday, day to day life.
mhm.
But then the moment that really hit me was, I think when I hit the age of 45, I'm looking around like, oh my gosh, I haven't even prepared for this, which then created the whole number of other things which create the anxiety because now I'm like, okay, I'm halfway through my life and I haven't prepared for this. And one thing I like is the self-talk. So what are some of the self-talk things I can do to help people with me, such as me, help them getting moving towards the right way?
Yeah, again, create that awareness for yourself. So, if we're talking about recognizing what self talk you have with yourself, is like I mentioned, when certain situations happen, just stop. And now we're not used to stopping and being in that present moment, pause, and then, really be aware of what is going through your mind. What are you saying to yourself? And making sure that you prepare and have a notebook or some paper next to you with a pen so you can start writing this stuff down. I would not suggest that you start to reflect on that right away. I think that you need to take some time to ponder, and also, if you're going through your work day, you want to make sure that you're not knocking yourself off schedule or anything. But after you've done that throughout your day, and I did this for a number of weeks, to become aware of my self-talk,
Mhm.
is take your notebook or your journal or pieces of paper home, and then make some intentional time for yourself to go through that and really start to think about what that means. And again, don't take major steps and try and overhaul everything overnight. I mean, this is really a process, and you want to take small steps, small intentional steps, but really just start to process that. And it's that awareness and consciousness
Mhm.
that you will bring yourself, that you will start to move in the direction that you want to. And so, yeah, small steps, but first of all, just pause, and then really become aware of and conscious of what it is that you say to yourself when certain circumstances arise.
I really like that. I love the small steps. I'm the person that will, if I can take the baby steps and I see the result, then I'll keep going and going
Yes.
and going. So I love that. And I also love writing it in the notebook. I do that too.
Mhm.
I have a own notebook of, I don't know how many notebooks I have. But anyways, that's another story, another topic. But anyways, I write in my notebook every day how I feel, what's on my mind, and then within the following week I look at it and like, okay, did anything change or what made me feel that way? So I really like that. So now we've gotten the move now we've gotten everybody off of autopilot, and now we've got them, now they're like, okay, I'm ready to work on the what's next in my life. What would you say?
Mhm. Yeah, what's next is what, when you have gone through some days of taking those regular pauses and being aware of what's going on inside your head with your self-talk, then kind of sit down and decide, is this the type of self-talk that you want to be having with yourself? Is
Mhm.
this healthy? Is this impacting you in a negative way? Are you are things that you are saying, are they really hindering you or hurting you? So make that determination that the things that you discover that you say to yourself, are those what you want to be saying to yourself, and the impact that it really has on you. And so that would be my next recommendation for people, is to decide, make that decision. Is that what you want to be saying to yourself? And if it's not, which most of the time it will be, if not, what do you want to be saying to yourself instead?
I like that. I love that. So we got two. You guys got two steps. I mean, she's giving it out to you. Look, I already got my pieces of paper. So but she's already given us, we already talked about how to turn off the autopilot, which I so love. And then now we're going to do some self discovery, which that's the part I really, really love when I started really sitting down and like thinking about, okay, what, first of all about shifting, the mind shifting was so mind blowing, and that I can control it.
Yes.
That's the thing. Everybody thinks you give the power to society and everybody else. You forget you're the controller and you can do that. So, Angie, with that being said, now we've got them now moving in the right direction. So, with that being said, what is your what is all about your business, the Oversight Global? What is that all about?
Yeah, so actually, Oversight Global kind of came from, like I mentioned, I don't know if I did mention it. So I actually come from a background in the healthcare industry. I was in healthcare for over 20 years. I started on the clinical side, then I moved to the administrative side. And, I always had this feeling of not feeling fulfilled in, all of the different positions and roles that I had. So because of that, I found myself kind of climbing the corporate ladder very quickly, and it was very unintentional. I did not set out one day and say, I want to be, a manager and a director and all this stuff. I was just trying to find a position where I felt like I was utilizing my skill set, and I just wanted to feel purposeful. And I wasn't finding that anywhere. So I just kept climbing up. But um but it was when I got into healthcare management, like I mentioned, where all of this, I became aware of all of these internal struggles and things like that, all this shift and this different approach and perspective needs to happen when you are all of a sudden responsible for a team of people and you're now leading people. And so, I spent some time in healthcare management, and I was being groomed to go to the next level of being a director. And I really had to, kind of stop myself and say, do I want to continue to go up this ladder? Because I've been climbing this ladder for years now and I still haven't found what I want. And so I really sat down and said, okay, is it time to pivot? What do I want to do next? And so that's how I got into coaching and creating my coaching company, Oversight Global. Is that, I really sat down and identified that the parts of my job that I really loved and was passionate about was coaching, mentoring, and training other people.
Mm.
And I really had a heart for really addressing the gaps in leadership, proper preparation and ongoing training and proper development, that I saw, that I experienced, that lacked for me, and then I also observed for other people as well. And so that's why I decided to concentrate on leadership coaching.
I think that's so we need that in so many different areas of the world, not just in healthcare. We need it in corporate, so
Yeah.
many ways. So I think you're right on the mark for that. One thing I really like to talk about is saying the time to pivot. I really we you now that we've gotten them in the shifting in and turning off the autopilot, and now doing the self discovery. Now it's time to do some, now it is maybe time to pivot, and not
Mhm.
pivoting to say to leave corporate, because everyone's always like, well, Pam, you're telling them to leave corporate. No, no, no. You could be going up, move up the corporate ladder, such as yourself, or moving to another position,
Mhm.
or doing that what you feel is your what's next. But when we pivot, it still comes with a lot. And
Right.
you and I know that. So what would you say to someone's like, okay, I'm ready to pivot, but what would you say to that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't feel like it's a decision, just a split decision you want to make. I mean, it's a big decision that's going to affect a lot of aspects of your life. So, for me, like I mentioned, I decided to pivot because I was being groomed to continue up that ladder, but it didn't feel right to me. I just felt like I was going to continue to turn my wheels and I wasn't going to get anywhere. So, I think for me, sharing that, you have to kind of do a gut check
Mm,
and think about, if you were feeling like I was, where I just felt like I was kind of missing this piece, like I like missed a class in high school where they shared, the secret of life and how to feel like you're purposeful and fulfilled every day in what you're doing. I just felt like I missed out on some secret that nobody was ever sharing with me. And so that's what I, unconsciously at that time was striving for. And I feel like, for me, it was that feeling of there has to be more. I
yes.
know in my gut that there is more. I need to figure out how to get to it and what exactly that is. And so, in talking to other people, it's kind of the same thing. They have this feeling that they are meant to do so much more, but they have no idea what that is or how to get there. And so, for me, that's what my pivot moment was. And again, really sitting down and doing some deep introspection and reflection work and, figuring out, who am I? What are my passions? What are my strengths? And can I, utilize that in a different way to maybe, it will make it possible for me to feel more fulfilled and get closer to that feeling that I'm striving for.
I so can relate to you. After 45, I started having a, I'm like, okay, they're, believe the scary part, like I said, the scary, if you could have seen me, Angie, when everyone's like, well, I don't know. I'm just like, what do you mean you don't know? And that was right there really that was gut wrenching. I promise you. So then, I've heard it all. Well, you've had your time, or you're too old. I go, I bet I don't. I'm going to keep going and keep going. But it took a lot. I have to say, I'm with you. I had to do some really self discovery, and I had
Mhm.
to lean on me and not lean on everybody else. So I wanted people to hear, and even though we kept talking about it in so many ways, because I wanted to people to hear it, and it's okay. And one, it's okay to pivot. And guess what? There's no perfect time to pivot. So
No,
many people have said, well, I'm too old. That's not true.
no.
So I just want people to know there's no perfect time to do the pivot. It's just time for you to do your pivot check and decide when, and do the two things that Angie had even talked about. Angie, I really love that our conversation. I will be talking to you all day, especially I like the leadership part. I do. I really like that you where you do coaching for leadership. And I
Mhm.
think that that is so important to have that coaching and leadership, because let me say this, everybody's not meant to be leader in a leadership position. um, or maybe they are, but they need to be groomed by you. Maybe that's what I should say. Let me say it that way, that everyone could be a leader, but sometimes you may need a little bit more coaching, or you need a little bit more how to be a good leader, because I feel like a good leader can get you to whatever you want, and no matter where you are in your life. I can say that for a fact. Well, Angie, I'm always believing in expanding our minds as we talk about what we've just talked about. But I also believe another way to expand our mind is reading. I
Mhm.
love to read. Now, I have audible books. I have almost, I think I'm up to 100,
Oh,
almost
wow.
100. And then I also have a bookcase over here that's full of books, that the books are not even just, there's so many books on the shelf, there's not enough space. So now they're over in another space of my area. I know I got a session. I'm not even going to kid with you. But with that being said, real quick, is there a book that you would like to recommend for everybody to read?
Yeah, actually, I wish I had brought it with me so I could show everybody, but I am currently reading a book that was written by a very close friend of mine. Her name is Krista Ford. So she is a world champion power lifter. She's amazing. I think she now has like 14 world champion titles. And she's also the first African American woman bobsled athlete. And so she's done some amazing things in her life, but she wrote a book that just got released, I think, 3 or 4 months ago, and it's called
Yeah.
Krista's Promise. And I highly recommend it. It's amazing. Reading about her story and the different things that, she went through, and, she was able to keep her head up and make it through to the other side. And she's accomplished some amazing things in her life. So, yep.
I so agree. Actually, Krista was on here before.
Oh,
That
was she?
Yeah, I'm like you. I really, she has overcome so many obstacles, especially being the first, like you said, that first African American woman bobsledding. I was
Yes.
like, wow, that was amazing. But then to be a power lifter, I was just in awe. And when every time she hits a record, I'm like, oh my goodness. I tell everybody, oh my God, I know her. And I'm always but her story needs to be heard.
It
So
does.
I'm with you. If you guys can all go out there, I know she has it on Amazon. I do know that for a fact.
She does, yes.
So you guys can go and purchase the Krista's Promise. It's one that everybody has to hear her story and how she overcame so much and how she has where she is now, but how did she get there? We're always missing the mark on hearing their story, but not knowing the struggle. And
Exactly.
she did face some struggle. So I'm with you on that book. That is such a I know it's a good book. And I highly recommend it. And then I have an obsession. I know everybody's like, Pam, really? I go, yeah, I do. I'm not gonna tell any lies or any fibs. But Kiki Palmer's book, I'm trying to bring it up. Kiki Palmer's book is Bright Master of Me.
Mm,
Read that book in literally 2 days. Two
wow.
days. And it's really good because she talks about as we talked about, how to get you connected to yourself. And then she gives tips and then she gives you an exercise, that also brings it home too. So I really love the Master of Me by Kiki Palmer. So real quick, Angie, before we go, I told you I could talk all day and this was so fun. I would be talking about all this, next time I want to come back and we talk about leadership styles and how we incorporate it into our day-to-day life. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
that I think we need to talk about that more. But before we even got to that part, we need to first peel back the onion and take off the autopilot, because once you take off autopilot, everything else will soon to come. So I definitely want you to come back and we'll start talking about some management styles and how they incorporate in our day-to-day lives, as well as recognizing what management style you have. I think that will be so cool. So
Oh, I think so too. Yeah, I love to. Thank you.
yay. But real quick, if anybody wants to get connected to you, how can they?
Yeah, if they just go to my website, which is scrolling below, so www.oversightglobal.com, they'll find absolutely everything. So all of my social media links, all of my books and my courses, and they can take a look at my coaching programs and, all of the magazines and podcasts that I've been on, as well as I also have a couple of my own TV shows and podcasts, so they can check that out as well. So yeah, oversightglobal.com.
Cool. So as we get ready to our time has come to an end so quickly, what would you like to leave everybody with?
I would like to leave everybody with, so it's kind of like what I was talking about. If you are feeling in your gut that you are missing out on something like I was, don't kind of sweep that under the rug as, oh, that's just how it is. Or, everybody's going through this, so it must be normal. That is your body trying to tell you something, that you are out of alignment with who you truly are meant to be and the life that you're truly meant to live. And so, listen to yourself. Again, take those pauses and start to become aware of what's going on inside your mind and in your body and around you, and really start to discover your true authentic self. In society, with all the expectations and everybody trying to mold us into being certain people, we tend to lose that, our aura of who we truly are. And so rediscovering who you are, and again, that all kind of starts with a gut check and becoming aware and conscious. So just know that you are beautiful, you are meant to be uniquely you, and you are amazing for who you uniquely are.
I love it, Miss Angie. Well, this time was fun. Again, I want to get you back on the calendar because now we can talk about the leadership styles. Like I said, that's the part I really like too. So I'm excited to have you back. But I'm gonna put you in the green room, so don't go anywhere, and I'll be right back to be back with you.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Okay, everybody. So Angie was dropping nuggets left and right. Like I said, this is going to be this is just part one. So I need you to be on the lookout for part two because I do want to bring her back. I want her to talk about the leadership styles, how they play in our day-to-day lives, and really what kind of leadership style are we? There's so many of them, but this was just, first and foremost, we needed to get the foundation. We needed to talk about removing the autopilot and becoming, and then start doing some self-discovery. She even talked about getting you a notebook, and that's what I do. Write down how you feeling every day, and then we do some self-reflection the following week. So everyone, I want to first and foremost thank you for all of you who have joined us, who stopped by. I hope this has been helpful as it has been helpful for me. If so, I love, like we always say, sharing is caring. If you feel that someone can benefit from this show today, share with them. Let's talk about more about removing the autopilot. Why do we even need to remove autopilot? We got to do some self-discovery and how we do it and things like that. So join me over on Facebook under Pamela Stone. We can start doing some more talking behind the scenes of this. Until next week, everyone, know you only have one life to live. You guys live it. Live it to the fullest as you can live it. And note that it's okay to come off of autopilot. We even talked about how it creates fears and how fault comes in and then failure comes in. But we need to do that to get to our time to get to time for us to pivot and prepare us for pivoting. So note that it's okay to go after that. So with that being said, everyone, note that your vision can be made. We hope you come back to see us next week. Until then, you guys rock. You are amazing. And thank you for joining us. Bye, everybody.